Hey guys, welcome back to Barry's Corner. It's Emily here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys all the books that I want to read in April. Okay guys, not gonna lie, I am a little bit stressed for April because in early May, I have 2 AP tests and the SAT to take, one after the other, like 3 days in a row. And April is gonna be my study month, and if I do not pass my AP tests, I probably won't get into this program in college that I really, really want to get into. And if I don't get or pass or like get a specific score on my SAT, then I won't get any scholarships. Like at all. I'm going to the University of Tennessee for pre-veterinary science, and they gave me 0 scholarships, and I'm paying $50,000 a year, and I'm just I love the University of Tennessee, but they need to work on their scholarships. So that being said, I'm taking donations. I'm just kidding, but that being said, I probably won't be reading a lot in April. So I have a couple of books, a good amount of books that I want to read. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but they will be on my bedside table as just a reminder that if I have the time, if I want to read them, they are there. So before we begin, please subscribe, please comment down below, please like this video, do all the things. All of my social links are down in the description box below, as well as my Amazon wishlist if you would like to gift me a book. Now let's get on into the video. The first 2 books I had in my March TBR, which is Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising. In March, I read the first book, which is Shadow and Bone, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a fast and fun read, and now I have to finish the second and the last book because the Netflix show is coming out in April, I think April 28th. And so I have to finish the trilogy before the show comes out. If you don't know what this trilogy is about, it's about a girl named Alina Starkov, and she lives in a world full of Grishas, which are basically people with magical powers, and also a world where there is a shadowfold. A shadowfold is like this large thing, and not a lot of people go through, because when you go through, you are basically killed by shadow creatures called Volcra, and one day Alina is picked, she's in the military, and she's picked along with a bunch of other people to go through the shadowfold, and she gets attacked and she bursts into a ball of light, revealing that she herself is a Grisha and she may be the only person that can stop or destroy the shadowfold, but she has to first master her powers. So it was a good book. It was a good book, and I'm excited to continue on with the series. I had already read, the first and the second book in the series, but I DNF'd the third one. It still has my bookmark from when I read it the first time. And I forgot everything. I literally forgot every single thing that happened. So when I read the first book, it was kind of like a whole new experience because I literally forgot everything. So I have no idea what's going to happen in this book. So I'm pretty excited. And in this book, I DNF'd it. And this is a lot of people's favorite in the trilogy. So I hope I enjoy it. I hope that these books meet my expectations. I don't have high expectations for these novels, I'm not gonna lie, but I hope I enjoy it. The next book that I want to read still takes place in the Grisha verse. It is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is a duology, and it takes place after the events of Ruin and Rising, the last book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and you do not need to read that trilogy to read 6 of Crows. They're companion novels, but a lot of people recommend that you read that trilogy first before you get to 6 of Crows. Everybody says that 6 of Crows is pure perfection. Like, every single person that I've ever seen that has read this book absolutely loves it, gives it a 5 out of 5 stars. Nobody hates this book. Nobody. And unlike the first 2 books in the trilogy, I have not read this book yet, and I'm scared to read it. I don't know much about it either. I know it's about a heist, and it's about a group of friends, and that's it. I know nothing. I truly, truly am going in blind with this book, and I'm excited yet scared because what if it doesn't live up to the hype? What if I like it and then it's over with and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just want to leave it for the right time, but I've had this on my shelf for a year or 2 and I just have never gotten to it. This book was also gifted to me by somebody, Vanessa, and if you ever gift me a book from my Amazon wishlist, I always keep the note and I tape it in the back of the book. I just love gifts and I find them so cute and personal, and I really, really appreciate them. So if you do want to gift me a book, my Amazon wishlist is in the description box below, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to 6 of Crows. This is like everybody's favorite book, and if I love it, if this exceeds my expectations, then I will go out and buy Crooked Kingdom and read it this month or maybe next month. I don't know, but I'm gonna watch the the show. It may be after May because of the test that I have to do, but I'm really, really excited to get to this book, and you guys need to hype me up, because if you don't hype up this book, I might not read it. So I might keep putting it off, but I am excited. Oh, I totally forgot. I don't have this book in my hands, but I'm reading The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams for my literature class. I am reading it online, so that's why I don't have the physical book. I believe it's a play, actually. I don't know, not sure. But I'm reading it for my literature class. It's basically a whole book about this family in the middle class, like in the 19 somethings, and when there was like an economic crisis, and they were in the middle class, and everybody's basically feeling trapped. The mother, the daughter, and the son, in many different ways. And it's just their story, and it's a memory play from the son's perspective. So I'm reading that. I will most likely finish that in April because it's for class and I have to read that for class. That's not exciting. That's not what you came here for. But I am reading The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. The next book, delving off of fantasy, is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This I bought with The Hating Game by Sally Thorne when I went to Barnes & Noble's. I took a little trip. I bought it. This has been getting a lot of buzz recently. Everybody's been nonstop talking about it, so I had to get it. This is about a girl named Shay Goldstein, and she's been a producer at this Seattle public radio station for nearly a decade. But what is it called? Their views have been going down. And so she came up with a plan to have exes come in and give relationship advice. However, they don't really have the budget to bring in 2 more people. So her boss is like, no, you and this guy that you absolutely hate will pretend to be exes and give relationship advice. However, she starts falling for the guy. And then usually in this business, if you lie and it is like revealed to everybody, it's basically the end of your career. So that is what this book is about. Also, it like deals with an age gap. So she's like in her 30s and he's in his 20s, I believe. And everybody's like living for the age gap. So hopefully I will too. This is an adult romance. I didn't know if I specified what type of romance it was. And I'm excited. Like, I don't think this will be a 5 stars, but I definitely think it'll be a 4 stars. And when this was coming out, everybody absolutely loved it. But recently I've been hearing people only give it a 3 stars, which is not a bad rating, but it's like, it wasn't as good as everybody else was saying it was, if that makes sense. So hopefully I will enjoy this book. Hopefully I'll like it. And I'm hoping I pick it up if I need a pick-me-up from all the studying or, these hefty fantasy books that I'm trying to read. The next book I want to read is The Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in a Court of Mist and Fury trilogy, or the Court of Mist and Fury trilogy. And I read A Court of Mist and Fury in February, and I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 stars. That was when everybody was talking about this trilogy because the new book came out. Guys, I remember I remember saying A Court of Thorns and Roses, so vividly in my mind. A Court in Mist and Fury is the second book in A Court of Thorns and Roses in that series, and a new book just came out. Why did I just repeat that title 3 different times? I swear in my mind it was so vivid, me saying A Court of Thorns and Roses. Hi, I'm editing Emily. Okay, I just had to come on. Okay, I'm so sorry. And now the talk has died down a little bit, and not that I'm not excited for this book, because I am, but I'm not as excited for this book. And I feel like out of all the books that I have to read, I think this will probably be the book that I might not get to. 1, because it's huge, why is it so big? But 2, because I am not as excited, and because I'm just so busy this month, and I don't know. It will be on my bedside table just for me to see and be like, hey, if you want to pick it up, it's there. But aside from that, this will probably be the last one I pick up. If you really, really, really want me to get to this book this month, comment down below, hype the book up so I will be more excited to read it. But if you don't know what this trilogy is about, it's about a girl named Feyre, and she lives in a world where there is a human world, and then there's a wall that leads to the fairy world called Perithian. And one day in the woods, she kills a fairy by accident, or sort of by accident, and the High Fae, Tamlin, comes to collect the debt, I guess. So she has to either die or live out her life in Prythian to pay for killing the fairy. So of course she lives out her life in Prythian, and Tamlin and her kind of form a romance. And it is also a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I kind of forgot to tell you guys that. So yeah, if that intrigues you, if you've never heard of the series before, if you've never read it, try to pick it up. I think it's good. Everybody says that this is their favorite out of the trilogy, and I want to pick it up so bad. I want to continue on to the last one in the trilogy. So yes, I will either read this month or next month. It will be one of these months, I promise. But if it's not this month, then like I probably won't read it this month. Maybe. I don't know, guys. I'm indecisive. Now, the last book I want to read is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is a historical fiction novel that takes place in World War II in Germany, and the narrator is Death. It is in the perspective of Death, which I find so cool, and Death is telling this little girl's story in Germany, and during World War II, they like burned books, so she steals books, hence the book thief, and also her family is housing a Jewish family during this whole time. I'm excited to read this book. I've already gotten 100 pages into this novel because I started last month in March, or technically I'm filming this in March, so I started this month. But I read this in March because I'm reading this with my uncle and my aunt, and I am really liking it. I have had this on my shelves for years, like literal years, and I never picked it up because, I don't know, I felt like the writing would be so dense and I would just hate it, and it would be kind of info dumpy. I don't know why I thought that, but when I started reading it, Death is kind of amusing. Like, he's kind of funny, and I also think of Death as a he. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but he's a he to me. He's kind of funny, and I just love his perspective and how he talks and how he tells Liesel's story, which is the little girl. I can't. And I'm only 100 pages in, and I'm already attached to these characters. Like, what? And I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm so scared because everybody says that you cry in this book. Like, if you don't cry, there's something wrong with you. So I'm definitely gonna cry. Like, I hope I cry. And I'm so freaking excited to get to this book. So those are all the books that I want to read in April. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for staying this long if you have. Please subscribe, please comment down below, and do whatever you want to do, and goodbye.